Welcome to Papa's Workshop. In today's video, I've got a fantastic idea for you. Christmas is just around the corner, and I'm hoping that you are planning on making a lot of your Christmas gifts this year. They might be on time, and it certainly will help Santa quite a bit. Well, in today's project, I have a perfect gift for those little ones. This is a personalized letter coin bank. This is fantastic. It'll teach the kids to be able to save money, and you can put their the letter of their name, and it's absolutely fantastic. I think they will love it and be able to keep this for many, many years to come. So today I want to show you how I'm making this. It's really quite easy. So let's get started. I want to give a special thank you to all of my Patreons. Their support is invaluable to the success of this channel. And if you'd like to support this channel, please go to patreon.com/papawsworkshop. This project is so easy to do. And the first thing we're going to do is open up a brand new project. And I want to go ahead and set up the material size. And we're going to do this on a piece of material that is 10 by 10. And this is 3/4 of an inch thick. Now that I have my work material set up at 10 inches by 10 inches, is 0.75 of an inch thick. I want to go over here and change the bit because we're going to do the majority of this work today with a 1/4 inch straight bit. So that is now set. The next thing, we need to get a big, bold letter. And here is 2 different fonts that works real well. I'm going to go ahead and use the Bevan, and I'm going to come down and we're just going to type in the capital letter S. And with that done, I'm going to go ahead and bring that up in here to the center, and we're going to stretch this out and make this about 8 inches tall. And let's back out just a little bit so I can see my handles. I'll make it a little bit bigger. That actually looks good. And I do want to have this centered to the material. Select it. Let's go to the Offsetter app, and we'll scroll down and click on that. I want this to come out 3/4 of an inch. So that will be 0.75 of an inch. We only want this to go out once, and I do not need the original. So we'll bring that in, and I want to be able to change this. If you zoom in and we look real close, you can see that it's cutting on the path. I want this to be able to change, and I want this to cut on the outside. So now we have this cutting on the outside. You can see the little blue line there. So let me zoom back out so you can see this again. And I want to go ahead and center this to the material. Now this is going to be the bottom. So first, I want this outer portion to cut all the way through. So let's go all the way through. I'm not going to use tabs. I'm going to uncheck that. Now to complete the bottom, I need to go ahead and have the S be a pocket. And I need this to be able to come down to about 5/8 of an inch, or we can just type it in right here at 0.625. So 0.625, that will give me where the S creates this pocket, and it comes down this 3/4 of an inch, and I have my cutout, and that is completely done. Now let's go ahead and duplicate this. Now this portion is going to be the top. And when this piece, what I want to be able to do is offset this one. And first thing, let's go back and center it to the material. But I want to offset this one outward 3/8 of an inch, so half of this distance here. So let's go back to the duplicator, and we're going to be looking at this right here. I want this to come out 0.375. I do not want the original. And let's bring that in now, and let's slide it over because I do not need this portion, and I do not need this portion. And I do need this as a fill. I want this to be able to create, not on the path, I want to be able to create this as a pocket. The thickness, my plexiglass, is 1/8 of an inch, so that's 0.125. I want it a little bit deeper. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this pocket down to 0.130. So there is my pocket. So now this gets placed on top of this one right there. And we'll go ahead and center this to the material. That's where the pocket will be. Now here's the next thing that has to happen. You can't see anything behind it. So let's just go ahead and send this to the back. So now you can see the outer cutout. You can see the pocket that's going to be cutting. You can actually see it better here. And you can see that this S is cutting all the way through. Well, that would take a tremendous amount of time. What I want to do is take this S, and instead of cutting it all the way through like this, what I want to be able to do is come up here on the cut, and let's cut it on the inside. Okay, with that done, let's go ahead and remove the tabs, and then we'll go ahead and with this highlighted, click on the edit and center this back to the material. So now what we have is the outer portion that's cut. We have this little ridge right here that creates this little step down for the plexiglass to sit into, and we have our S that's cut out, but it's actually cut out, and that will save you a ton of time. Now we need a little slot right up here for the coins to be able to slide into it. So let's do that by selecting the Shapes menu. Let's grab a rectangle, and all the coins, we can make this 1.5 inches wide. That will be plenty. And then as far as the height, we can come right up here, and I want this to drop in right over that cutout, but I don't want it to tuck into that S. So that actually looks pretty good. We don't need it that high. So let's bring this down now and do the same thing. It's cutting into this pocket right here. Now right now you can't see everything, so I want to get the S out of the way, and we need to be able to take this pocket and we're going to send it backwards. And now this is how you want it to look. So now with that S, let's put it back into position. So we'll slide that back over to the center of the material, and that gives the complete look. Now when we preview this, everything is looking exactly as it should. The slot for the coins is exactly the way that I want it. The pocket for the plexiglass, again, is there. And the S is exactly in position. So we've got that perfect now. The next step is to create a new workpiece, and this time we're setting this one up to be able to cut the acrylic. First thing I want to do, I do not want to use the 1/4 inch bit. I want to use an 1/8 inch bit, because that will give me a good cut all the way around. The next thing, I need to be able to grab this portion of the pocket. So let's get the S out of the way, and let's take the pocket, and I want to copy it and paste it into the new workpiece. So let's come back to edit, and we'll click on paste. Now yes, I could hit Control C and Control V, but I like to be able to show you the different things. Now with the S, let's go back to edit, center it to the material so that the top is not disturbed at all. So now let's just concentrate on this workpiece for cutting out the acrylic. First thing we need to, with this highlighted, let's go ahead and go back to the offset app, because I need this plexiglass cut just a little bit smaller than the pocket itself. So by coming down to the offset app, this time I'm going to set this where it will go inward, and I want it to go inward the 0.125. So I click the inward. I don't need to have the original. I click import. That is going to be it. We get the original one out of the way because this brand new one is going to be to the correct size. So I'll center that to the material. We'll delete the other one, and now I have this one. Those two little points right there, that was what was causing the problem when I used the 1/4 inch bit. By using the 1/8 inch bit, that will cut deep enough in there so it will work. The last thing you have to do, please make sure that you select this and slide it all the way over. You don't need to waste a 10 by 10 piece of the acrylic. And don't forget, make sure that you have this cut on the outside. Remember, this is cutting on path when it comes into from the offsetter app itself. Now we do need to come up here and click on the material. We need to change this from the 0.75 of an inch down to the 0.125. Once that is done, then we can come over and set the proper depth and have this cut all the way through. And of course, let's eliminate the tabs, and this now will be ready to be able to carve. Let's go ahead and do a quick recap. We've got the base, and that is going to be the bottom with the cutout and the pocket. Then I copied this over so it's exactly the same size, and I created the pocket to receive the plexiglass and the slot for the coin. And don't forget, the S is a bonus. You can use that for another project. Last but not least, we set up to be able to cut the acrylic. Now let's get started at the table saw. And here all I'm doing is just cutting my 2 pieces of wood, the 10 inch by 10 inch. And to do that, I set up the stop block on my table saw sled so that I could cut those and be exactly square. Now this just makes it easier to be able to have a good, easy setup when you get back over to the CNC machine. So accuracy is important. At the CNC machine, I'm using the glue and the tape method to be able to secure this project. The glue that I'm using is the Starbond Thick, along with the accelerator. Now I will have a discount code in the description below. Please take advantage of that. That will save you quite a bit of money. The glue itself, it doesn't take a lot. If you've seen my videos in the past, you know just one little stream of the glue across the tape, and that's really all that's necessary. So I'll set that aside, and all I need to do is just spray a little bit of the accelerator now on the 2 pieces of the tape that's on the wasteboard. When you flip this over, the tape's already aligned. I have 2 lines on the wasteboard, so I know exactly where to place that and stick it down, push it into place. It takes just a moment to be able to secure this, and it's ready to carve. This is actually quicker than trying to set up the clamps to be able to hold it down. Now I know some of you like the clamps, so I'm going to go ahead and put 2 clamps on there also, because I am using the dust boot with this, and I want to be able to show you that the dust boot will go over these clamps just fine during the carving. You just have to be careful how you set it up. Now this is the 1/4 inch bit that I am using to be able to do the carving. Now after completing the checklist, I went ahead and got started. But what I wanted to point out to you, since I did the upgrade, this is the first time that I've used a 1/4 inch bit. So to begin with, I'm starting out at 80 inches per minute to be able to do the carving. And with that speed and a 1/4 inch bit, it is working just fine. It's not having any problem at all. Now I want to show you the cut settings, because I have this set at 80 inches per minute. I also have this on the raster cut, and I'm doing it with the grain of the wood. So it doesn't plunge down into it. I'm using the ramp feature also. That way you can see it slowly cut down into the depth of the wood, and then it proceeds on. This is a very nice feature, and it actually makes for a better cut, and it's easier on the machine. Once this rasper cut is done, then it actually goes around the edge and it cleans up the edge. Now I want to give you a close-up of this. This cleans it up, and I tell you what, with this bit, and this is a premium pine, it actually requires no sanding at all. Doesn't get much easier than this. So I love this technique, and I love the upgrade on the X-Carve. Now I want to show you the completed project sitting here on the table. Now this is the bottom half of this letter S with this pocket. Look how clean and sharp everything is. There is no need for sanding at all. And now I'm just going to go ahead and pull this off, and it requires this putty knife to be able to lift that letter up to break it loose from the tape. You can see just how well that it holds. The clamps were there as a safety item, but they really wasn't needed. The top part of this letter coin bank is almost done, and you can see how it is carving absolutely beautifully again. Look at the detail. The pocket is in there to be able to hold the plexiglass. The cutout is being done around the letter S, and quite frankly, this letter S is perfect. You can use this for another project on something else. And once it completes this inner cut, then it'll just switch over and finish cutting the whole entire letter out. The tool path that's being used is actually much better than in the old days of easel. They have made some significant improvements. So congratulations to the Inventables team. Keep up the good work. Now the only part that I actually need is this outer portion right here. And all I have to do is just be able to take the tape off of it, dust it off a little bit, and it's ready to glue together. Don't forget, save that letter S. I'm going to be using that along with some other letters in some future projects. To be able to clamp the two halves together, they fit perfect, and it's mainly because I took that first work piece and copied it over to the second work piece, so they were absolutely identical. Now to be able to clamp this, I just used the spring clamps on the edge, but I need to be able to hold down that center portion of that S. Took just a little bit of creativity, but two little scrap pieces of wood made it where I could hold those in place and put the necessary clamping pressure on it. So now I'll just let this glue dry, and we'll be back to finish this up. You can never have too many clamps. While the glue's drying, it's time to go ahead and take care of the clear acrylic. Now I can cut this on the table saw just fine. There's no special tools or no special saw blades required. Once this is cut, I'm just going to go ahead and take it over to the CNC machine and use the glue and the tape method to secure it. As for the cut settings, in the Inventables material list, they have an acrylic setting. So I just use those settings to be able to cut out this acrylic. And if you'll look at the results, it absolutely fits perfectly in there. This is exactly what I wanted it to be able to do, and I absolutely love it. The only thing I need to do is just go ahead and drill some small holes to be able to attach the acrylic to the base, and I'm just going to use a drill and put those in. Now there's nothing fancy about this, but I am taking a very small drill bit and I'm drilling through the acrylic into the wood so I get the exact location that I want. Once that is done, then I'm taking a larger drill bit and being able to drill the hole into the acrylic, because I really do not want the screw to be forming the threads into the acrylic. I want it to be able to move ever so slightly to be able to have just a little bit of room for expansion. Once I did all of that, then I just go ahead and screw this into place as a test fit to make sure that everything is going to be perfect. Once tested, then it's time just to go ahead and put the finish on it. One thing I do want to show you, I have a very small little crack right there that I want to be able to fix before I do the finish. One of the things that I can do is just take some sawdust. I'm going to force that sawdust into that little crack. And I'm going to pack it just as tight as I possibly can anywhere where there's a little bit of space between that front part and the back part. And from there, I'm going to grab the Starbond glue and I'm going to be able to use the thin Starbond CA glue, and I'm just going to be able to put a little bead of that glue right across that sawdust, right on that joint. And that is going to create the absolute perfect joint, and it's going to seal it, and I will not ever have a problem with that. This is an excellent way to fill this little bitty small crack. This will dry almost instant, and then I'm just going to take it over to the sander and touch it up just a little bit with the belt sander, and it'll be ready to put the finish on it. One word of caution, probably not the best idea just to use your finger to be able to rub that sawdust in place with the glue there. I would go ahead and suggest that you use some rubber gloves, but hey, that was just my suggestion, because yes, I did get a little bit of glue on my fingers. As far as the sanding, this was very, very light sanding that was required. I am barely touching the belt with this letter. It takes very little to be able to do it, and you can see the results. It's absolutely beautiful. Using this filler in this manner with the Starbond glue works extremely well. Now don't forget, I do have a discount code in the description below so that you can save yourself quite a bit of money on being able to purchase this Starbond glue. Now the first coat that I'm putting on this is my concoction of the linseed oil and the denatured alcohol. And this is a 50-50 mixture. And this works as a very easy wood sealer. It just goes on with a paper towel. It soaks into the wood and it seals the wood very nicely. It'll also have a tendency to raise the grain as with any first coat. And then once you sand it just a little bit, then you can put on any type of finish that you want of your choice. The final coat is I will put a coat of wax on this, and this will protect it for years to come. And one final thought, if you want to personalize it even more, you can engrave the name of the person onto the acrylic. Thank you for watching today. I hope that you do take this file and make this for your kids. And with the techniques that I've shown you, you can create any letter. It doesn't have to be the S. You can create any letter in the alphabet to make that personalized bank for the kids. And if you like this video today, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And by all means, right down there, please hit that subscribe bell and a little notification next to it so that you'll be notified on the videos that I'm uploading, because I do have some additional great Christmas gift ideas that I'm going to be doing very shortly, and you're not going to want to miss out on that. So again, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next video. And please don't forget, I'm going to upload this project into the Inventables project page. There will be a link in the description below so that you'll be able to go directly to this project. I hope that you do this. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. And don't forget, take a look for the other projects that I'm going to be posting so that you can have a wonderful Merry Christmas.